We have a breaking news story to tell you about. A plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
What's it like to be here in the 9/11 Museum, carrying this memory forward? 20-year anniversary, Chris.
This year it's a little more, you can just feel it a little bit more. It's on every channel you watch. We're constantly reminded every single day of our loss, but this time of year it just seems to be magnified. It's a little more visceral, a little more painful.
Chris Gansey, Rob Sendry, and James Dowdell all had fathers in the FDNY. Firefighters who rushed to the scene that morning and answered not just a call, but a calling.
It's kind of surreal that we're here 20 years later. You know, it's gone by in the blink of an eye.
Rob's dad, Ray, was far from the front lines, on light duty that day because of an injury. But when word came, he sprang into action anyway, hitching a ride downtown with a news truck. And when that hit traffic, he switched to an ambulance and kept going.
He wasn't going to miss it. He was going to be there, and he was going to do anything he could to get there and help out. That was just his nature.
Ray was last seen running into the North Tower. It was the day after Rob's 11th birthday. James' father, Kevin, was part of Rescue 4 in Queens. No one in his company survived. It was James's first day of senior year. Is there some comfort in knowing that people are remembering and they're forced to remember?
Yes, everyone says never forget, and when people remember, that does mean something, because at the end of the day, all we have is the legacies of our fathers.
Chris, your father was chief of department, one of the supervisors that day. What do you remember?
As far as my father went, I was, naive, I guess, in the sense that the chief of department, he's the #1 guy, right? So he would be removed from the situation. But thinking about it now and really digging into the type of person my father was, Pete Gansey was not the type of guy to lead from behind. And if he was going to put somebody in harm's way, he was going to be right next to him. And on that day, he was no different.
A father of 3, Chief Gansey used to say he really had 10,000 kids, all the men and women under his command. He was the highest-ranking firefighter to die that day.
You can come into this beautiful place and you can just think about how many lives were touched by the sacrifice of Jimmy and Rob, my dad, and the countless others of first responders who never made it home that day.
The guys grew up idolizing their dads, their little footsteps often found in the firehouse, soaking up the magic and the camaraderie. After 9/11, they followed their father's footsteps into the FDNY. Rob, an EMT, Chris, now a battalion chief, his father's brass forever pinned on his collar. And James, a firefighter in the very engine house where his father once worked. It's a way to hold hands with your fathers, to carry on their work that they gave so much for.
My father's died for this uniform, so to put it on is a huge honor. It's definitely something to be proud of.
This is what I was supposed to do. And it's been an unbelievable gift that he's been able to give me in his passing.
But Chris, you were on a totally different track.
Oh, totally different.
You got your master's in business.
You know what my father would be doing right now? He would say, why did I spend $200,000 on an Ivy League school when I could have bought a boat? But I always feel I have to make a tough decision or something going on. I got a little piece of him watching over me.
Their father's memories and spirits are never far from mind. There was the moment Rob, at a probationary ceremony, visited the memorial, pausing where his father's name is inscribed.
We were standing up there, getting ready to lay the wreath. We were talking about my dad because we were right at the corner where my dad's name was. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw something fall. And I was just kind of like going to brush it off my shoulder.
It was a butterfly that had come to rest.
It was a very special moment because it stayed there for about 15 minutes. It really helped me out that day because it wasn't very easy to come down here. Definitely brought some comfort, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little piece of his spirit flying by.
For sure.
And finally, Rob, this is a moment where the world is focused again on that terrible day. what would you want them to remember?
My dad, Chris's father, James' father, they're not just, pictures. They were people with families that loved them. Their stories are just 3 stories of many from that day, but us talking about them is important to keep their memory and their legacy alive.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.